Hello, everybody.
Hey there.
Everyone can hear me? All right, good. Good,
Hey,
good,
Dan.
good. All right, we'll give it one more minute just for anyone else that's being tardy or late, and then we will go ahead and get started. So, and I am recording this, so I will post this video slash audio later when we're done, and also do a TLDR, which is probably going to be a long one. So, of patch notes. So. I guess I'll put myself online. I haven't been on offline in a long, long time. All right, so we gave it about a minute there, so we will go ahead and get started. And awesome, we have a good group of people here, so very, very awesome. So, all right, before we get started tonight, I want to let you guys know this is going to be very long, so I apologize in advance. There's a lot of me reading, but I will make sure I leave a Q&A section open at the end. So Axel, don't count this one because it's this isn't a normal one. So hopefully I'll try to see if I can make it in half an hour. We'll see. I'll try to go as quickly as I can. So. That is also what she said, yes. So, all right. So let me jump in. I just to let you guys know, just to give you ahead of time what to expect here. I actually have different sections, so I'll at least tell you what those are. So there's going to be a history section, a news section, a trim section, a forward section, a pillar section, and a culture section. So those are a lot. So, but we're going to be going over all those because all of those are very important for tonight. Yes, many sections. Handle it. So, all right. So I want to start with history here to share a little bit about what you guys. If anyone wants to take notes, feel free. If anyone wants to help with the TLDR, please feel free to write that down. That would be super helpful, and then I can reference it as we go forward. So, all right. So let's talk about history. I want to talk about core, where we started, and kind of more or less where we're going from here. So, before core was core, there was a little no-name Discord with two home teams, Team Black and Team White. I was the captain of White, and Brother Shaw was the captain of Black. Back then, it was our two teams and a guest team named Red. We would scrim each other each week, and we had fun time doing it. It was in the early days of Overwatch when everyone was getting their feet wet and just learning how to play the game. After a few months in November on Thanksgiving, I get a call from Shaw letting me know he was stepping down from Team Black. At that moment, I knew that without Shaw's leadership, Black would fall apart, and our Discord would only have one dedicated team left around. So, Friday after Thanksgiving, I got to work. I scoured Reddit, multiple Discords, looking for people who were looking for a place to be part of a team, looking for a place to call home. From Friday to Sunday, I created all the guidelines and expectations for core. I also interviewed over 30 plus people. Yes, back in the day, I interviewed every person who joined our server. You could not get in unless you had an interview with Defiance. Over the course of that week, we had meet and greet events where players would get to know one another and myself. Axel and other friends would determine who we felt were strong candidates to be captains. By the end of the 2 weeks, we had multiple Overwatch teams, and to this day, Team Green is still here. So, shout out to Green. We had accomplished a lot then, and I am proud to say we have accomplished even more over the last year. I am sharing this history about core because all of this has happened before, and all of this will happen again. So that leads to our news. So, I have a few things to share with you that will come as a shock or a surprise to many, but I want to assure you, while this starts out very Empire Strikes Back, it will end very much Return of the Jedi. Starting today, going forward, both Frag and Fenris have stepped down as owners of Core Overwatch and will be shutting down the Core Empire business venture. A big reason for these changes are due to Blizzard's changes. They have made it less viable for people to do any sort of business around the game and IP. And their recent post informing communities that they are not allowed to run leagues, and if they wish to run tournaments, they must get a license. These surprising changes have been devastating to say the least. As we were on the verge of launching our own league, Blizzard pulled the rug out from under us. They basically said, hey, thanks for supporting us the last year and helping create a community that is healthy, but we don't need you anymore. We have Overwatch League. So, Also, these changes, we will be closing down our Patreon for the time being. With only myself running things, it will be hard to manage the money coming in while focusing on the community. I may look at starting a Patreon up again, but that will be looked at a later time. I would also like to share that I personally have massive life changes coming up in February. I will be moving to a new state and starting over again on my own. Try not to get emotional about that. So, during the holiday season and until the second week of February, I'll be very busy with work and getting my new life in order. So, that doesn't mean I'm not going to be here, just to clarify. So, all right, now I want to talk about trim. Now, moving's awesome. I love moving, by the way. I like sorting things. Oh, and by the way, I was able to figure out, I went to all these companies, as a side note, about moving, and it's like $1,400 this and da-da-da. I found this awesome way to use U-Haul and U-Pack and then U-Haul again, and got my move down to like $700, which was like super awesome. So, anyway. All right.
Please.
Hey, if anyone wants to move cheaply or do anything cheaply, just ask me. So, all right. Let's go to the next section here, trim. Now I'd like to share with you some things we are removing from the server. FYI, this is still Empire Strikes Back territory, so promise good stuff is coming. We are removing divisions from all teams, which I think you guys have already noticed. We are removing the coaching program, but coaches will still remain. We're not kicking them out. We still love our coaches that help here. We are removing the owner's title for obvious reasons. We have removed the staff role, and we have removed multiple unused channels. Some channels have gone, definitely, and some channels will be coming back. For example, the About channel will come back, and I'll talk about that momentarily. So, all right. So, okay, now we are finally back to Return of the Jedi. So all of the big news, scary stuff, that all happened. Now the good things. So this Death Star is not operational. So, going forward, we will be simple and lean. So, core slogan is Forge Your Team. And our mission is to provide a professional structure to help you build, improve, and challenge your team. Core Overwatch will have 3 main pillars: Teams, Scrim, and Brawl. Each one of these pillars will have a corresponding document and leads that will be visible in the Discord. So you guys see that kind of right now. I'm going to be in charge of Teams, which is the main base of the org, the community. We will have Neo, who will be in charge of the scrims, and we'll talk about that as well too, and then Red, who's going to be leading our Brawl, and we'll be chatting a lot about that soon enough. So, we are also making changes to our guidelines and expectations by including a section about toxicity and unprofessional behavior. Players, core teams, and guest teams are going to be held accountable for their actions, and the community as a whole, will be encouraged, and the whole community as a whole, will be encouraged to make sure that everyone is meeting our standards. We will start removing anyone who we feel is counter to our culture and poses a risk to the health of this community. So there's going to be some big changes with that, as you guys see in the document soon here. Now let's talk about our 3 pillars for Core Overwatch. So, Teams is our first pillar. How teams are forged in Core will mostly stay the same. There are a few changes we are making to ensure the success of our teams. We're going to raise the bar on who can build, manage, or captain a Core team. We're also going to have set rules about what happens when a captain steps down and who takes their place. Core will be more involved to ensure the success of the team, but at the same time do not want to micromanage all of our teams. We'll be focusing on teams who are not progressing or have poor leadership. Our goal should be to build healthy and happy teams, not just build lots of teams. We are also affording build teams 2 months to forge their team. We know from personal experience it takes a long time to find the right people for your team, especially if you want to build an amazing team. We feel an additional 30 days should be sufficient to find the players and build a team that you can be proud of. With the removal of divisions, we will have a set standard for all teams when it comes to activity and participation. We will expect all core teams to, and this is my list for all core teams, practice or scrim 3 times a week, show up 10 minutes early to all practices and scrims, stay for a 10-minute feedback session with fellow core teams after a scrim, have 0 toxic players. That's very important. The team's responsible for reporting toxic players and unprofessional behavior to core leads. So if you have unprofessional behavior in the process of building your team, during scrims, during Brawl, which we'll talk about, that needs to be reported to the leads right away and let us know. You're required to record and review VODs with your team, which you should be doing anyway. Be professional during your scrims, events, and tournaments. Run and manage your own team Discord, which a lot of you guys already are. Use the core name in front of your team name at all times. That's something I want to make sure we're going to drill that in. I know that Tengu had made a post about that branding, but it's going to be something that we're going to be much more strict about going forward here. And use your custom team logo for your Discord and during all events. So the idea is if you are here and you are proud to be here, and hopefully we'll give you a reason to be proud to be here, then we want to make sure that you guys are sporting our logos and sporting your own logo and sporting your own team name and sporting core. So, all right. Next, our second pillar for core Overwatch. I've heard from a lot of people and teams that one of their favorite parts of core is how scrims are run. We have done a great job on building a unique culture in core when it comes to scrims. More often than not, teams show up early, they are ready to go on time, and they stick around to give feedback. Also, teams do a great job of scheduling and posting their scrims in an organized fashion. For all teams, we know scrimmaging is an essential part to your team's growth and development. Going forward, we want to make scrimming in core, and with core teams even better, we will be making some changes. So, here's some changes to how scrims are going to get better. We will set a standard on how people post and look for scrims. We will set new guidelines and expectations for how scrims are run in core. We will expect teams to be early and ready for every scrim. We expect all core teams to do a 10-minute feedback session. We expect everyone to report teams who are late, toxic, or unprofessional. Teams who are not actively scrimming, are late to scrims, or toxic will be removed from core. So the next thing I want to talk about, our third pillar here, Brawl, which is new for everybody and I'm very excited about, is, as we discussed earlier with Blizzard's recent changes, we had to scrap Core League and turn... Okay, I can read what I wrote. And also that we are not willing to run tournaments because if we did, it would basically be under Blizzard's control. So over the last several days, I have been working on a solution to our problem. Over the past year, our teams have gone from a group of friends hanging out to teams who are very serious about playing and proving that they are the best. And it is my responsibility to ensure teams have a way to compete amongst one another. There's a clear demand from our teams to have something to do beyond scrims, and I have that answer. I would like to introduce you to Core Brawl. Just so you know, we are in the beginning stages of developing the format, but I would like to share with you what we envision for the future of competition in Core. And just so people know as well, too, there's going to be a meeting right after this at 9 o'clock for anyone who's interested in giving input and giving ideas for Brawl. So think of Brawl like UFC or boxing. Teams will be broken up into divisions. Yes, I lied before, sort of. We're getting rid of the way we did divisions before, and now we are using them for Brawl. So this is how it works. Let's take what would be our Division 4 teams in the Brawl format. So Ego, Livid, Elation, Prime, Ferox, and Eminence. Each week, these teams could challenge one another to a Brawl. Teams will earn points based on number of points captured, time on the clock, winning the match, etc. These points will be posted on a leaderboard. Teams would be competing for the top 3 spots in their division. Over the course of 2 to 3 months, a division champion will be announced and prizes will be won. Teams may schedule their brawls on any day and any time during the week. Now, if you schedule your brawl on Monday or Tuesday night between 9 p.m. and 12 a.m., your brawl will be streamed and casted live on Twitch. We will also hype the hell out of the event just like they do for UFC for pay-per-view. Teams who want to be live streamed will need to reach out to the Brawl lead a week in advance to set up. Streams brawled are first come, first serve. So if you want to brawl another team and you want it live and you want everyone watching you, you reach out to the lead and say, hey, I want the Monday night slot between 10 and 11. We then promote it for you and we get casters lined up and it's streamed and everyone can come and watch you guys battle it out. Maybe you have the top 1 and top 2 in the division. Number 2 wants to take the number 1 spot. They're just 4 points away. So they are fighting the other team to take that lead spot. And they'll also get recognized in the Discord also for being in the top as well. I am very excited for Brawl and being able to offer a competitive outlet for our teams. I can't wait to see our teams go head-to-head to prove who is the best on the server. One of my favorite parts of Brawl is that all of our teams will be able to participate in it and be matched up with teams of equal skill and ability. So that is Brawl. Next one. I may actually make this on time. That was longer than I thought. Okay, culture. The last thing I want to talk about was Core's culture and what we can do to make Core feel like it has value for you and your team. First off, I want to talk about toxicity and unprofessional behavior. We will be encouraging players and teams to report this type of behavior. If the leads of the Discord are provided with evidence of toxicity from two different people or sources on two different occasions, that player or team will be removed from the server. If teams try to change a player's name to keep them on their team or try to hide that the player is still on their roster, the team will be disbanded or asked to leave the server. We want to ensure that the culture in Core is inviting and productive. Toxic players offer no value whatsoever. As a community, our goal is to have 0 toxic players. Secondly, I want to talk about the value Core offers to you and your team. Core is at its heart a place for people to find like-minded individuals who want to build a successful Overwatch team. My goal is to provide you what you need to get started and guide you down the right path. Core is a place for those that say, look at what I can do, not a place for people who say, what can you do for me? We have it written, leave your sense of entitlement at the door. We believe the people at the top and stay at the top do so because of hard work. I think there is a lot of value in Core if you're willing to step back and look. I know I work hard and for free to ensure this community is healthy and happy. I do it simply because I enjoy helping others reach their goals or find a place to call home. And of course, there is a part of me that loves being in charge. Hey, I got to do something for me, right? For those of you that would like a list of perks of being a Core team and why to be here. So, here's the list. We have vetted leadership for building teams, and we're increasing that bar. Guidance on how to build and manage teams. You can always come to me or any of our other awesome leaders that have great teams. Reliable scrim partners who provide feedback. Core Brawl, a competitive experience only for Core teams, so that is not a lot of guest teams. That's going to be Core exclusive. Custom-made Core emojis, thanks to our branding team, because that's always fun, and they'll be making more. Core teams listed at the top of the Discord and colored based by SR. Free VOD reviews from coaches in the review channel, so that will still be available. And also higher SR players are more than welcome to do free VOD reviews as well in the new review channel under coaching. Team logos for dedicated teams who have been here 3 or more months. Open and transparent leadership. An hour-long town hall meeting where you can ask questions and provide feedback. And a community that actually cares about you and your team. And my PS, new documentation and details about Brawl will be posted between now and next Core Day. We have a lot of changes coming, so please bear with me through the transition to Core Overwatch 2.0. So, and I totally killed that. It's totally within time. So, all right. I'm going to shut up now. There is a lot more that I didn't say. There's a lot of other things that I still have to do and get taken care of. There'll be changes basically happening now to the next state of the Discord, which will have a regular one. But, if you guys have questions now or want to know or don't like something or want to know why I changed something that wasn't clear on here or want to know about Frag and Fenris, any of that sort of stuff, please, this is your guys' opportunity. And I give you lots and lots of time to ask. So please go.
Did Kitty leave or was she removed?
Kitty left on her own accord.
As I recall, she said something to the tune of she was losing interest in the game. So
yes.
It's been a common thing. We've lost a lot of people to that.
Yes, I noticed that. Fenris mentioned that as well, too. He was losing interest in the game, so...
Are Fenris and Frag going to remain in the Discord? Or
Fenris has already left. Frag, I can't speak for him. He may or may not go. The three of us have a lot of stuff to deal with on the business side because I got to get, take care of all the passwords and the website stuff and all the logins, and we're going to work on all that stuff. We're not fighting, just to clarify. There's no animosity or angry throwing of dishes or anything. We're just decided to make changes for kind of obvious reasons, to be honest. So. What other questions?
Okay, I have something. First off, thank you for doing this. This is a breath of fresh air, per Core for me.
Cool.
It feels nice to be in here again. Can you specify what's gonna change for the diamond level or the raising the bar for teams? is there going to be a new like SR range where you have to be above this SR to stay as like a core team, or?
That's a great question. No, it's still going to be platinum and above because I still want to allow more casual teams here that just are good teams that just don't have the time, right? So if I have a team, for example, let's say that meets the requirements, they're here 3 nights a week, they scrim, they practice, are on time, everyone likes playing with them, there's no reason to kick them out. They're the embodiment of our culture. They're doing the basics that I'm asking them. I'm not saying, hey, I know you have a wife and kids, but I need you to play 6 nights a week and scrim for 20 hours a week. That's not fair. That's not doable for them. So I think we can have a healthy balance of more casual teams and more serious teams. And I think Brawl, it will be a good opportunity for both those more casual and serious teams to get a bit more of a challenge and to kind of push each other a little bit more too. So,
I have a question.
Sure.
So, I represent a self-made team. We've been playing for about a year now together, and so I've never been a part of core necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
So, can you tell me like what changes will be made to like guest teams and how like I will be affected and how my team will be affected?
Yeah, sure. No, it's a great question. So guest teams aren't really going to have much of an impact. We did streamline our policy before with guest teams to make it easier to get more teams in here. So basically, as long as your team isn't toxic and is respectable and shows up on time for scrims and kind of doesn't violate any of those sort of structural rules and cultural rules, then you guys are more than welcome to stay and participate in any sort of events and things we do. I will say the one thing, as at least of right now, unless my teams tell me otherwise, I would like to make the Brawl exclusive to the core teams. So it's kind of like an in-house for our teams only kind of thing. So I would say that'd be the one thing you guys would miss out on. And also the free coaching review sessions, those would only be for core teams as well. So
Sure.
Yeah.
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 I'm gonna head out. Good luck with everything. Thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you. No, great question.
So what's gonna happen with icons now? Is it gonna stay the same for like 3 months, or does it change?
Yep, we're still gonna do the 3 months. The reason for that is several reasons. One, it shows your dedication. Two, we've increased the time for build for 2 months. So you should give you time to build a stable team. So then you're here basically your quote unquote your first month of not being a build team. After that, you would get the logo. That's just to make sure that we're not having our brand team making logos for teams that are literally just going to fall apart. And that's not fair to them to put all that work into something to a team that just isn't going to be here. So that's why we have that 3 months, because we figure by that time that team should be relatively stable. So.
You said you'd be raising the requirements for captains and those who want to enter the community to start a core team.
Yes.
What are those going to be compared to the old ones?
Be like Matrix and Droland.
Way to a man's heart.
No, I mean that sincerely to you guys. It's just a matter of I may increase the age a bit. There's going to be actually, before you even get to the interview process, there's actually going to be a form that you fill out with a quick questionnaire, because I don't want to waste my time or someone else's time who comes in and asks about, being a captain, because that's what I've learned. Like, I'll do the interview, and then within the first question, I know the person can't handle being a captain, because a lot of this job, as for those captains that are here and stable and know what they're doing, your job is much more dealing with people than it is anything to do with games. The game part of it and managing the game and making sure people are shooting things is totally secondary to managing people.
More like HR.
It's way more It's way more like HR. So that's really what we're going to be looking for, is making sure that person coming in just has more years of experience and knowledge. And can prove it, rather than just like, oh yeah, I did this X, Y, and Z, and I do apologize to all those people that are younger, but y'all can't do it. You can't. It's not easy. So go ahead.
What is the age requirement being moved up to?
It may be moved up to like 23. So.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Because I kind of. So I'm not actually captaining. Like, that's not. I'm going for a co-captain position. But
sure.
I think I kind of want to defy that because I have a lot of management experience. But that's something we can talk about privately, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, for sure. Of course, there's always exceptions to the rule, for sure.
Right.
But
you make the rules and you make the obsessions.
Exactly. It's just I just want to have a line, and if you can come in and you can show me a lot more, And plus, also, you know, if I want 3 to 4 years of experience, like if you're 20, you were doing it when, you know, so that's kind of how I'm looking at it. So
Right.
What happens to the people who are like, I'm 22, so do I still get like grandfathered in?
yes, yeah, I'm not going through and yes, I'm not going through and be like, you're out. The only reason that would occur is if I'm noticing a trend or I'm hearing from other people that there are problems, right? So if you're younger or older, doesn't matter, and you're scheduling scrims with teams, and I'm getting all this negative feedback about your team, and then your team players are telling me there's issues and problems, then that really is going to question the leadership. And then if I have to question the leadership, then that's where I say this team's dismantled or kicked out. So, you know, we can go from there. So, but, yep. What other questions?
I heard, if I recall, that there's a new process that you're going to establish for someone transitioning into the captain slot when the captain leaves.
Yes.
So when my team inevitably assassinates me, what's the process?
That's a good question. I haven't decided that as of yet entirely. A lot of it's probably going to be having the person who wants to take over the team go through that assessment, you know, fill out the form, go through the interview process. If I find that player is capable of taking up that role, then we can leave the team as is. If I feel like that player does not have the experience, then we'll probably dismantle the team. Again, for those people that have already taken over, this does not apply to you. I will let you fail on your own or succeed on your own. I'm not going to come through and tell you can or can't right now, but I'm saying going forward, if it falls apart, because guess what? It's happened so many times, and you guys know it, right? We've had a captain really strong, and then a co-captain comes in and just cannot fill the spot for them at all. And then there's rare cases like Thibble, for example, where a co-captain can come in and take the spot and not only take it over, but can actually do better than the captain. So those are going to. Well, it's true. I'm just transparent here, but you know that's just kind of how things are, right? But I just want to make sure that I don't have a team that was working really well, and then the co-captain takes over, and I waste that entire team's next 3 or 4 months on a leadership that can't lead. So I want to make sure that doesn't happen to those players and those teams in the future.
I have a question. Are you thinking about expanding like just the channels, I guess, to be able to talk about other games and stuff like that? Like, not that there's like a set rule that you can only talk Overwatch, but like, do you think you'll add more channels in the future?
We definitely could look into that if people want to chat about other games and there's enough people interested. I don't see why that would necessarily be a problem. Like we could even do like a whole games channel and just has talk about other specific games. So, you know, if we want to create a game category and then put like PUBG in there or Fortnite or Heroes of the Storm, whatever people are playing, if we just want to have just general chats, I don't know if I'll go much further than that. Other games, waste of time. I don't know how much further we'll go from that. If we do go that route, then that means we would change how the org would work, and we would be teams for multiple games, and that would be very different. I'm not saying it wouldn't be possible, but there's a lot to think about when that were to occur. But yeah, I'm open for a games category. So.
So now with the stepping down of Fenris and Frag, what kind of positions are you looking to fill for those who want to help out with core, help it expand? Like what kind of things do you need from people in this transition process?
And this is why I mentioned why Matrix is one of my favorite captains. Okay, so you too, Shaw, but you don't have a team, so shut up. So, all right.
I'm talking favoritism.
Oh, favoritism? There will always be favoritism. If you work harder and are smarter, then I'm going to favor you. I'm sorry. It's going to happen. If you work hard, then I like you. It's just, that's okay. If a cookie tastes better, it tastes better. All right, so as far as what we need. So as you guys can see, we now have core leads. So basically, very simple, and I made this very clear because I noticed there was a problem with owners and staff. It was very ambiguous. People didn't know who did what and who to go to for anything. So now it's very clear. If you have an issue with Brawl, you go to Red. If you have an issue with Scrim or Scrim Teams or Scrim Document, you go to Neo. If you have any issues relating to teams, you come to me. So it'll be very clear in regards to that. As far as what we need for help in the back end, with Fenris and Frag going, that leaves a really big gap for us. Now, luckily, we do have a brand team that are helping with logos and some design stuff, but I definitely would be more open to additional people that have experience with graphic and design. And I do need people that have experience with coding and managing Twitch and websites. So those are all things that I would need to keep us going, because we're trimming it down, and I need to make sure the website's running. I need to make sure Twitch is running. I need at least 2 people that have decent rigs that would like to help stream the Twitch stream the Twitch brawls on Monday and Tuesday nights. So if you have a rig that is capable and you would be up for volunteering to manage the stream on those nights, please message me and let me know, and I'd be happy to have a chat with you and see if you'd be a good fit for that group. And also, after tonight, as soon as we're done here chatting, if we end early, fine. We're going to be going into a Brawl chat. We'll probably go down to one of the other channels, or we'll stay in here lobby, actually, and we'll be talking about Brawl, and I want people's ideas and feedback for it. Again, we just have a basic outline, but I want your guys' opinions and thoughts. So, but thank you for asking that question. Go ahead.
So to follow up on that, kind of interested, but there are questions that I might have, and also that conversation I won't be able to attend because I was actually streaming another game in the middle of this, and then I just kind of paused all that so I could come here.
Yeah, you're fine.
Will someone be recording that at all for later listening, or will that be like summarized or again?
The Brawl, I will have another open meeting for Brawl people. So if you can't make it tonight for the Brawl conversation, don't feel like you're left out. Just DM me and say, hey, I'm interested in being part of Brawl, or I have ideas. And then I will let you know when we have another Brawl meeting, because we have a lot of stuff to get done. So I will definitely be taking people to talk about it. So
right.
Yeah.
Would this also be the best place to ask about the streaming schedule, like setting up like casters and stuff, because that kind of quieted down pretty quickly?
Yeah, so we just refined it down. We have 4 people that we have designated as the casters that we want to use on Monday and Tuesday nights. So we've decided on the 4 people, the strongest 4 people we felt for those. They are all pretty much okay and agreed to that schedule of that like 9 to midnight window. We won't be using the whole time, probably like maybe 2 hours, an hour, 2 hours. But that's pretty much, we're down to that. If there are other streamers that come in that blow us away that are amazing, then we are more than open to bringing them in on the caster team as well. So
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Are you still gonna be doing like the stuff for like stream, like the esports talk and stuff like that?
Not right now. We are streamlining. So we're peeling everything back just because that's a big blow. So I'm trying to focus, and I want to make sure that the 3 things I talked about, the teams, the scrim, and Brawl, are spectacular. I want to make sure those are really meaningful, and for everyone here in Core go, yeah, I love being part of this community. They build awesome teams. We have great teams to practice with, and the Brawl is just a phenomenal experience, and it's a great challenge for our team. So that's my goals right now. So, but yes, I would like to do the behind the battle tag. Trust me, those shows I would really like to do. But let's get this stuff all settled and our base done, and then we'll start adding after. So.
Can I get the difference between Brawl and League like more finely explained?
Sure. And again, this is an outline. There's going to be a lot of conversation about it.
Like,
So
is Brawl supposed to be something that is supposed to replace League, or is it something
Yes.
that's supposed to be like something that was gone separately, and then League came along and League was just put to sleep?
No, League was what was supposed to happen in January, and we were all lined up for it. We had 23 teams sign up saying they were interested and gave Gaming Mary their schedule, and then we were going to do a final, once I figured out the time and schedule, which I was working on with the casters and everything, and then all of a sudden Blizzard said, no, you can't do that. So that's why League got shot in the back of the head, but that was by Blizzard, not by me. I was very devastated by that because I was super excited of all everyone's passion and excitement for the idea, but they just took it away. And if you go to any other Discords that also have League stuff, they're just devastated too. Like, they're all running around trying to figure out what to do now. And because I didn't want to do the terms of service for running a tournament, you could only run it so often. If you wanted to air it, it could only be on certain times and days and yada, yada, yada. They owned everything you streamed, and they controlled basically everything. They could come in and tell you couldn't or could do something. So I figured out a way around that. So that's where Brawl comes in. So to give you a little bit more details of how Brawl works is League is obviously a league format, so you're competing with teams, you have set days and times, and you're competing with each other in that regard, and then, there's a championship and prizes and all those sorts of things. We changed it to be much more of, if you do any searches for UFC or boxing format, basically what it is that's pretty much just one fighter goes to another fighter and says, I want to kick your ass. And the other one goes, no, I can kick your ass. And then they go at each other. So we thought that was not a league and that was not a tournament, but it would give our teams an opportunity to compete with each other. So, for example, if we have 4K teams, they're going to be brawling each other to try to see who is the best of the best. I want to be number one in said division. And it's to encourage these teams to want to compete with each other and to prove who is the best on the Discord. Without having the league format, where this is a lot easier for us to manage as well too, because the teams set up their own schedule and they have to meet the requirement of at least one brawl a week. So as long as they're active and involved and they stay on the leaderboards, then they're competing. And like I said, after a period of time, they'll win, and then we'll figure out what prizes and stuff we provide to people. But again, it's not a league and it's not a tournament. So,
I have a question. Would the brawl be included as one of your scrims/practices?
Yeah, I mean, you could make it that way. It's just that it has a different format. So the way that the matches are played and stuff like that, it may match a little bit of OWL. That's stuff that we're going to talk about in the brawl conversation after. So if you guys can hang out after and want to talk about ideas and format, we can. Like I said, it's just a general concept right now. But I feel like it could definitely work within the current environment that we're restricted in. So, I do have questions sent to me. Give me 1 second here. Oh, okay. Yeah, Q had a question in regards to about toxicity. So, we're going to start reporting stuff. The players and the teams, I want to start reporting to the leads and letting us know if you see toxicity in any of the things. So I'm kind of in charge of toxicity for teams that are being built or within the teams themselves. Scrim is obviously watching for banter and conversation between teams, and Brawl is obviously between teams when they're brawling. So you can report toxicity to any of us or unprofessional behavior to any of us, and we will have a conversation about it. If it is ideal if you can record whatever they're doing. So unlike Blizzard, I can't see what everyone's doing. So if you can actually record the conversation or take a screenshot and give it to us, that would be wonderful, because that's the evidence that we need in order to make sure that these players stop that behavior and or aren't here anymore. So
will you give the players a warning, or are you just going to be just keep track of it?
So, no. They will get a warning. So,
Okay.
So the way that, and again, this will all be laid out in the new documents that will be posted in the next week or so. So basically, the way the process works is, let's say, Meppel, you have someone who's being toxic on another team during a scrim, right? I'm not saying you are. I'm saying another team.
You could say my ex-co-captain.
So, or your ex-co-captain, yes. That's being toxic, and you see them in chat, or you're recording. I mean, come on, guys. I mean, how many of us are recording our VODs, during scrims and stuff, right? So you see someone being an asshat, you just take a clip of it or send it to me or the other leads and say, hey, I got an example here. I saw this. This is the context. This is what happened. I'll review it, and then I will reach out to the player and or team, let them know of the infraction, and let them know if it happens again, then they'll get in trouble. Now, you can't report them again. I know that kind of seems weird, but this is to try to prevent any sort of biases. So we probably also won't let another player on the same team report another team during the same scrim or something like that. So the idea is to have someone else report with a different incident at a different time, so that way we can show consistency over time. So that way the team or the player can't kind of be like, oh, dude, that was the same game, when I can say, well, this was from Team X, this was from Team Y, and these are from 2 different occasions. Bye-bye. So go ahead.
Are you going to streamline it and use a Google Doc, or are you going to just have people message you?
I'm going to have people message me, and then I'll probably have a document, like a spreadsheet, with the people that are causing the problems, along with the links to the proof. So,
okay.
Yep. No, it'll be documented. So, like I said, I can't be there, so I'm relying on the culture here. And this isn't to all of a sudden hand everyone knives and start stabbing each other in the back by any means. If I see that, or if I feel that's the problem, guess what? You're toxic and unprofessional, and you get to go away. So just as an FYI. So don't try to do this just to get rid of the people. And this is not a mechanism to get rid of the people you don't agree with. Guess what? We all don't get along, and that is okay. This is just get rid of the people that are clearly causing problems and issues or have tilting problems. I've had so many reports of like, well, this person just like throws their headphones or just yells fuck you, and like I'm like, okay, that's a problem. Like there's no reason to do that. If you want to get upset, fine, mute yourself and just be quiet and be toxic on your own, but don't affect everyone else. So
Nah, fuck you, bro.
So if there's toxicity within a team, how are you gonna address that to keep like the person who reported them like safe?
I won't be disclosing. So
Okay.
there will be private. So if you come to me or you come to the other leads and you say, I had a problem with this person, here's the evidence for it, and I get it, then I'm just going to let the person know that they've been reported, that they had a problem, an issue. If the person wants to dispute the toxicity or the problem, then I will go back to the original accuser who provided the evidence to ask them if it's okay if I bring that up to bring context to the situation. But that will only be in situations where I feel like maybe there's a misunderstanding or someone was joking around and it was taken the wrong way. Those sorts of things, again, exceptions to rules, we'll take a look into it. But if I'm getting reports, though, and it's consistent and you've been warned, then you're just going to go. So, I mean, honestly, raise your hand here if you want toxic players. I mean, I don't think, yes, you can't even raise your hand, so clearly no one wants it. So, but, all right, what other questions do we have? Anything else?
You can raise your hand, by the way. There's an emote.
I know. Just kidding. So, is anyone worried about any of the changes, excited about the changes, concerned about like the huge, and honestly, I didn't find out about Fenris and Frag until today, like this afternoon. So that's something I didn't find out until today. So
Did they decide to leave, or
yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically, I had proposed to them an idea of not really splitting Core Empire and Core Overwatch, but saying the community needs to be kind of separate than the company, and we need to focus differently, and that the owners of Core Empire shouldn't necessarily be the owners of Core Overwatch, and that we should have kind of more appropriate people to manage the Discord. And communicate with our teams and our players more appropriately. And we had a really good conversation, and that was all A-okay, and everyone was good with that. And then I found out today that they decided, Frag's getting a new job hopefully soon, and he's going to be super busy, and Fenris has kind of lost interest, and because of the changes from Blizzard, there isn't a financial benefit anymore, so they decided that, it's best to kind of just part ways and to go in that direction. Again, no hostility, no fighting. I still like those guys, but it is kind of falling back on my shoulders to take the Discord and take the community to the next level. So on my own, and with your guys' help, obviously. But.
I did message you a question, Defiance.
Oh, you did. I'm sorry, Obi-san.
No worries. Just because it was kind of confusing. I mean, I get the 3 practices a week.
Yep. Okay, yeah, no, as long as you guys are active. So the question that he was asking is like, hey, what about scrims versus practices, and how do those work? As long as your team's at least practicing and or scrimming 3 nights a week, meaning your team's active and being involved and playing together, that's really important part. And like I said, there has been a push to, make only serious teams and only teams of certain SR, and this conversation of like, having lower teams affects things negatively. I honestly think most of that's BS, because I think what really matters here is that teams care about each other and that teams are active and involved and a part of the community and trying to make things better. That's what's most important. Because guess what? Pretty much all the teams you see here that are currently GM are either teams that started way below there or were created out of players that were already part of Core. So I don't think it's necessary to say to a Platinum team, you have to be around 24/7 and work as hard and as much as the other teams. All I'm saying is don't bitch and complain if you're not working as hard as the other teams and you're not where they are. That's just the reality. That's all I'm asking.
Right.
Yeah, that's all I'm asking. Be active, be here, be involved, but don't bitch and complain if you're not, a 4K team because you only play 3 nights a week. So that's okay. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
So you said Core Empire was being discontinued. Is that correct?
Yeah, so we're working out the details on that, officially what the guys want to do with it, but the business side of it, we may be folding, and then I'm just, again, streamlining on the community and kind of building our base, and then we'll work back up from there again, so.
Okay. So I'm not sure if it's particularly relevant, but could I get like an explanation for my team members who are unaware of what that was?
Sure, for sure. So I started Core Overwatch. We were getting excited about the idea of starting a business. Fenris came to me and said, hey, I'd like to provide some money to try to see if we could build a team, a core team that we would support. Then we realized that there was no money in that, and it was just a money sink. So we said, okay, well, that's not smart. So then we decided, well, maybe we want to start developing other things. So we were going to go ahead and start developing programs that were esports related. So Frag got involved to help develop that stuff because he's a developer, and we started working on that sort of stuff, and we were going to start working on those sorts of programs, and we were going to work with the league and try to promote the league along with the other software and things we're developing. And then obviously once the whole league thing fell apart and all the changes Blizzard made, and they kind of made them nervous to do anything else, because we felt like if we did put money or time into something Overwatch related, that Blizzard could turn around overnight and just say, well, you can't do that, we're doing it now. And I think that just made us, all three of us, skittish about investing money or developing stuff for a game that Blizzard could make massive changes and affect our business. So, yeah. What was that?
I think that's really stupid that they did that, like monetized it to only Overwatch League. But
yeah.
That brings me to a follow-up question.
Sure.
So if Blizzard's policies do change, say they reverse from like a lot of backlash, for example, like with what happened with Warp Meta, would Core League be started back up? Would Brawl be discontinued? How would you deal with that?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if they bring back leagues, then I'll be honest, I would ask you guys, if you wanted to remove Brawl and switch to League, if you wanted to do both. It's definitely something I would talk with our captains and our people here as far as what they want to do. Don't get me wrong, I'm a big believer that all of you are children, and it's much better for me just to tell you what you need rather than you telling me what you want.
Who said that?
I said what?
In the document, in the captain's document? Who said that?
Oh, that was me, 100%. So that is the reality of things, and that's not a slight on you guys. It's just how we are as human beings. Like, we think we want one thing, and then we actually need another. But when it comes to things like League and Brawl, I want to make sure that you guys are getting not only something that I think you need for your teams to develop, but make sure you're part of something that you actually want to do. There's no reason for me to create something organized that you guys are like, nah, it's no fun. Then I shouldn't be doing it. I should be doing something better. So we'll start with Brawl. If it works out great and you guys love it, which is what I'm hoping, and I'm going to have you guys be a part of developing it. But if they allow us to do leagues again, and we kind of get our league back, and that's something you guys want to do, then we'll start doing leagues. I would say the only reason we wouldn't do leagues is if all of a sudden they also put a title on that and said that there was a license required, and it kind of got all into our business again. And then we may stick with Brawl. But, I'm open to stuff changes in the future for sure. So, yep. What other questions?
I know a while back there was a meeting among captains as to changes that could be made. And I think one of the things was trying to bring the community together more through like event nights and things like that. Are there any sort of statuses on that kind of stuff, or?
Yeah, that burnt out quick. So yeah, that pretty much just folded. So here's the thing. I think community events are fun. I think if people want to do community events, please do them. One of the things that Kitty and Noodle said to me was like, oh, I didn't know we could do events. Yes, you guys can have events and do stuff whenever you want. I don't have a problem. Go have fun, play with your friends and things like that. But I think Core Overwatch has changed from where we were a year ago, where it was much more casual and funsies and we were just kind of doing whatever and had group nights, to a much more serious Discord as far as being competitive. Now, don't get me wrong, I know we still have more casual teams, but I think even those teams want to be part of something where they can compete. And I think if we're airing that, I think that will bring more camaraderie and more people together rather than trying to manage all of these community events. I think if Brawl is run properly and teams are active and involved in it, enjoying it, and it's being streamed, I think that will bring our community together. And I think even the idea of making a games category where people can talk about other video games would not be an unhealthy thing for us to do in the future. So I hope that makes sense.
Yeah.
Cool. What are the questions we got?
Oh boy, Apron's typing.
No, it's all right. This has been awesome. This is like the most questions I've had in a long time. So I guess we should have more people leave and things fall apart so I get more questions. So
I'm kind of new. I just recently joined a core team.
Yep.
But I was just wondering, is there like a place for like in-houses for like less casual stuff? I know you just kind of talked about like being like really serious, but like would that be under like community events?
So yeah, I mean, if you want to do like, what are you thinking? Like, what kind of thing do you want to do? I guess the best question.
No, just like a really casual in-house, just like you get just 12 people in a game, just like having fun playing.
Oh, for sure. Yes. Please play with other people. That's highly encouraged. If you want to get together, the other night we did. Was it last night? I was in just a quick pickup group with some friends and from everywhere. Like I had guys that have been banned out of the server. I had my friend Titus. I had just everyone. Q was there. And we just ran quick play together and we had a blast. I mean, eventually there was a full 6-stack and we were just rolling the other teams. So, but that was a blast. We had a good time. If you want to get a group together, honestly, Serial, if you just one night you're just hey, anyone looking for group and just say, hey, anyone want to get together and just throw 2 teams together and just do something crazy, please do that. There's no reason you guys can't have fun and play together. So
So
sure.
Julio, thank you.
Yeah.
with the new Blizzard rules, is there anything stopping core from doing a weekend tournament with just the core teams and guest teams? Nothing that's no monetary value to it, just something fun.
I will look into it to see if there's a way for us to do that because I would like to do it. The part of the reason I am doing Brawl the way that we are, part of the reason we're doing that structure is because it's very flexible for teams that can't all meet up. Because to try to do a tournament with just core teams on the weekend, we don't have enough teams. I know it seems crazy when we have 18 in-house teams, but it's such a spread as far as SR goes that an in-house tournament really doesn't work for us. We'd have to have the guest teams involved as well to maybe make it worthwhile. So that's kind of why I came up with the Brawl, because it kind of gives us that competitiveness. It allows you to be within a division that fits your SR, and allows you to be able to do it when you want, and then we can also stream it to make it more fun and competitive to watch. So again, I wouldn't be against those sorts of things. I just have to see what Blizzard tells me I can or can't do, unfortunately. So yeah, Neil, you can go ahead. Yeah, if anyone has to go, that's okay. You don't have to stick around for the whole time. Again, we're recording this. Hopefully I'm recording this. And I'll post it later as well too. So, but what are the questions we got? Anything else? Are you guys excited for the idea of just refining everything? We're going down to Team, Scrim, and Brawl and just putting all of our effort into those 3 things.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense.
Sounds good. Good.
Someone said you should check your DMs. I think they whispered you something.
Oh, who did I miss?
I think 2 people.
Zone, sorry. Core All-Stars. Core Brawl eventually leads to a super team. Not a streamlined idea, but a thought. No, that's a good idea. I would like to see, we could do that as a fun thing. After Brawl, we could take the all-star players. We could have a vote on all-star players and then have 2 all-star teams go at each other. And we could mix it up too. We could take 4.1k players and throw them with 2.5k players. Just people are voted on that they liked or watched play, and throw 2 all-star teams together and just watch them just mess each other. Yeah, no, I like an all-star match idea. I think that would be kind of fun. So that'd be cool. Another question. How are the prizes going to work in Brawl? I don't know yet. Because we're losing the Patreon, and I don't have a lot of money, we're going to figure that out when the time comes. The things that I know we'll probably get is you'll probably get a name change, showing you are the top team, or maybe a color change for your team for a period of time. You'll get a custom logo. for being the top team in your division. So you get that as well too. If all goes well, I do want to give T-shirts to the whole team for each division. But I have to see about raising those funds to make that happen. But I would want to make it so all the divisions' top one team after like the season ends for the Brawl would get shirts. So we'll see that. Maybe that'll be something where we raise money for it, or we raise part of the money, and then the players, if they want a shirt, they can buy it, and then I can give it to them and stuff. I don't have a lot of money. I'm poor purposely, but it makes me happy. So that sounds crazy, but trust me, if you saw my life, you'd be like, holy shit, Chad. So we'll figure it out. I want to make it happen if we can. We may have to do it for just like the top division team. Again, we'll see what happens. I'll see what we can scrounge together and make it work. So
each brawl will last 3 months, you said?
This is going to be, that's the rough idea, but we're going to have a conversation about it. So okay. We'll see, because if you're only required to do one, you technically would only play 4 games in like a whole month. So that's the details I want to work out with the Brawl people that stay after, that really want to flush out all the ideas. Like I said, it's a basic outline and concept. I need your guys' input to make it something amazing for everybody. So,
okay, cool.
Yeah, for sure.
We have to scrim in like 4 minutes.
Yeah, so go ahead.
It's more towards the Brawl. Who's the number 1 team? Because I'm gonna call them out right now.
All right, who says they're the number 1 team? I guess we'll say. Would be, well, I mean...
Me, by myself.
Well, there's technically going to be...
honor belongs to TBD.
Yeah, there are 5 different divisions, so if we're talking, would be Division 2, I think it would be. Division 2, yeah, maybe TBD.
4.2K, they're 4.1.
Yeah. So, see, here this is why Brawl's going to be fun. This is why Brawl's going to be fun. So
when's the start date for when you want to kind of get Brawl off its feet?
I would like to start it. So one of the suggestions was made to me, which I thought was kind of a good idea for Brawl when I was proposing the idea to some people, was saying we should run it at the same time that we run that competitives run. So that way where people's SRs are, and it can be over that course of the 2 months. So we're either going to start it when the next season starts, if we can get all of our ducks in a row, or we'll start it the month after. But my goal is to do it when the next season 8 starts, which is, does anybody know the official date on that one?
I thought it was
It'll be like early January. But I have a thing.
January, yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Most of my team is away for school break, like that. Like, I don't come back until January 9th, so, like, would we not be able to participate in that?
Well, yeah, that's the thing I have to consider, too, is because there's also holidays, so we can also figure that out. We can also make it so you guys could make up, like, a match and just, like, do 2 for a week or something if need be. So we can definitely talk about that and the rules and how we'd make that work, so, yeah. So, what are the questions we got? And if you guys have to go, please go. I know people have scrims. That's why I did this at 8, because I know most teams scrim around, like, 9 or so on Sundays, so... that do scrim on Sundays, but yeah, I know Livid is, so I know Neo has to go and Q has to go and things like that. So
no, this has been awesome. Thanks to fans. We'll talk to you later.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you guys. So yeah, no, and thank you guys for being patient with me with all these massive changes. But again, I think Core Overwatch 2.0 will be good. I'm always very good when people hand me lemons to make fucking amazing lemonade. It's just what I do. When everything falls to shit, I say nope. Not allowing it. Shit's going to get better now. So, and honestly, I think with myself at the helm again and pretty much just me, not discrediting Neo and Red because, I need them for sure. I think it's going to make a big difference because I won't have to ask anyone anything. I can just kind of make stuff happen. And I found that works out really well. So, but any other questions? I did get a DM. Can we expect chat moderation in the future? Yeah, that is all part of that toxicity and unprofessional behavior. That does not mean I don't want you guys to have fun and bust balls. Please do so. If you have good rapport with the player. So there's a very big difference. I want to clarify this, and this will also be clarified in the document. If someone sends me a screenshot of a chat and conversation between 2 teams, and they scream each other all the time, and they get along, and someone says, fuck you, and the other person says, no, fuck you, and they're friends, that is okay. Okay, that is okay. That is not breaking the rules of behavior or toxicity. Now, if another person sends me one and someone says, "Hey, how's your day going?" and they say you're a cum slut and they've never played with them or have no idea who they are, that would be toxicity and unprofessional behavior. So there's a very big difference in those. A fuck you is very different depending on who you're giving it to. So let's make sure we're aware of that. You know, I'm not here to moderate and be like, well, I felt that was an inappropriate conversation. I don't care so much about that if those people know each other. Now, if it's inappropriate because it's in public and it's crude and disgusting, that's a different story. But if people are busting balls or vaginas, I'm okay with that. That's fine. We're friends. That's okay. It's when people are purposely being asshats or teabagging each other or just doing things that are just disrespectful for no reason other than, hey, I can get away with it because I'm on the internet. Those are the people that need to go away. So, cool. Does that make sense? Yes, cool. All right. Any other last questions? No? Is green a color? Yes, green is a color. See, like, example, Thibaut de Expo. That was perfect. That is legitimately okay. So,
can you tell me all the locations of the Korok seeds? I'm a little stuck.
Of the what?
The Korok seeds.
The Korok seed? What?
Have you ever played Legend of Zelda?
Oh!
I think you need to buy the map from Tingle, my dude.
I did ask for a Switch for Christmas, so I will be playing Breath of the Wild on Christmas Day, so I'm super excited for that. So.
Well, if
We
you
can do
get
Core Mario Kart.
Yes, there you go. But we will never ever have a melee with.
No.
Why not? Why need
No.
Come on.
No love. All right, so the rest of you guys can head out if you want to. If you want to hang out and have a conversation about Core Brawl, what you think it should look like, how it should function, please feel free to stay here, and we will chat. I have an interview a little bit later with Punder if she is still available, which I'm very excited about. She's gonna sneak in just before all the new rules come in. So she's gonna be like, Psh, "I got in," so I'm a crappy captain. No. So.
Oh wait, I have one question.
Sure, go for it.
Are you gonna do like a mentorship thing with the new captains, or?
Yes, and it's gonna be with me.
Okay.
So I'm gonna help mentor the new captains because I'm not in there to tell a 4K team how to be a better 4K team. I will leave that up to the other 4K teams when they kick their ass or they talk to a coach. But I will be the person that's helping new teams deal with, manage, find players. Because I will right now, I will tout that my team Core Prime is fucking amazing. Everyone's on time, they're friendly, they're helpful, they're great players, they're striving to be better, they communicate well, no one tilts, no one gets toxic. I know I can build a team that is healthy and happy, and I want to make sure that the teams that we have coming in are healthy and happy. And if anyone needs help with any of those things, please let me know. I know how to be nice, and I also know how to be an asshole and get rid of people that are problems. So if you need assistance in that area, but I will be the one helping the build teams find the right players and make sure they're heading in the right direction. So,
cool.
All right. Any other? Is the coaching and VOD policy basically remaining unchanged? Yes, the VOD review, the review channel, it's now called Review, that is unchanged for our players and teams. The reason it hasn't changed is because nobody's using it. So, but it's still there if you want to use it. So that is available, and you'll be able to post in there and get reviews. The only thing that's changed is high-level players that are higher than you are able to comment. So let's say you're a Lucio, and you post Lucio content, and you're a Platinum player, and a GM player says, hey, I want to help you, give you some feedback. Just reach out to that player and let them know, hey, I can give you some tips and tricks. And that will make us a better community at the end of the day when our higher tier players are helping out our lower tier players. So, yep. Or if you could, go ahead.
Can we make it mandatory that people for reviews use like the Flow feedback website?
Yeah, we could do that. If you send that to me, I'll take a look at it for sure. Yeah, I don't.
Super nice.
Yeah, I don't require. I don't mind making requirements for things to make sure stuff is all nice and neat and fixed. So, possibly forming another team in a few months' time. Okay, I'll reach out to you. Whoever just messaged me, I'll reach out. We'll chat. So, but we'll chat. So, and I got the Flow feedback. All right, cool. Any other last questions about the Save the Discord? We'll have a normal one later, but I definitely want to jump into Brawl in case anyone has any other questions. Oh, did I want to talk about boosters? Yeah, don't be a booster.
Is there anything that captains need to do with respect to these changes, like starting immediately, or is that something that will be informed of in the future? Or
You guys will be informed in the future, but no, you're okay. Everyone right now, think of this as kind of a blank slate. Everyone's okay. No one's in trouble. No one's a problem. Once the new documents are posted and all the new guidelines and expectations are posted and everything's very clear about how things work and function in the future, that's when people are going to start getting commented and talked about. This doesn't mean this is a Wild Wild West where you can just start being an asshat, but you guys are all on a clean slate right now as far as I'm concerned. This is a reset button for all of us, and we'll go from there. So, but if keep it on. If you're running a great team and things are great, keep going. Not going to stop you. So, no Tengu, teams are not going back to their own colors. Ignore them.
Aw, what?
Ignore them.
I want a green name.
I want Fuzzy Wuzzy, dude.
All right. So, all right. We're going to rotate into the Brawl conversation now. So if anyone wants to stay for Brawl, feel free, and we'll start with that. So this is Brawl conversation. This is a blank slate. It is a general concept that I've created for Brawl, but I need your guys' feedback and ideas as far as what you want it to look like and how you want it to function. So, anyone, this is open forum. Just start spitting at me. I'll write stuff down, and we'll have this open conversation about what we want it to look like, how we feel like it'll be valuable. So, go.
So can I ask, like, a question to everybody? How do we want, how are we going to choose who the first #1 team is? Or is it just going to be whoever wins the first game?
I'll write out power rankings.
Round robin pools, I suppose.
And then, but how are you going to, also... Shit, I just lost.
Are you referring to seeding or something?
Yeah, seeding. Like, how are you going to do the seeding? And, can the number 6 team play the #1 team, or do they have to work their way up the, ladder?
It's division-based right now, and SR is pretty much the best thing we can go off of.
Well, outside of SR, in the divisions themselves, you'll have, 6 teams, you said? Or something like that?
Well, it'll be inside the divisions. So, for example, just to give you an idea. So, there'd be 5 divisions. The lowest division would be D5, and that's 2.5K through 2.9K. And then it's 3.0 to 3.4 for D4, 2.5 to 2.9 for D3. D2 and D1 get a little bit smaller, so they're closer in SR. I have 4.0 to 4.2, and then 4.3 to 4.5. So those are how the divisions are currently broke down. That is just a general idea. We can also change that as well. But for example, right now we have D2, which would be basically all of our GM teams with possibly throwing in Hyperion if that's changed at all. You guys are right on the cusp. All of those teams would be competing with each other.
And we're basing these SR rankings off of competitive highs.
Correct. Yeah. So we would go based on the season high. So again, this is up to you guys. Should that season high fluctuate based on the players? I mean, obviously, want to keep things simple, so we're not having to change rankings all the time and keeping track all the time. Do we want to just take whatever last season was, or the current season? How do you guys want to do that?
Your season high at the start of the season. And then just base the Team SR off that, because if you're it would be too hard to micromanage mid-season.
I think it should be based off of last season if you're going to take it at the beginning of the season.
Yeah,
I
would probably be the best thing to do.
I would say take it mid-season of each season, and then keep it until the midway point of the next session of the seasons. So it's a 2-month variable, and mid-season is typically safe to say where that player is supposed to be at.
Okay. I do like the idea of the last season, just because that way it gives us just an easy starting point. We could do the mid-season, but we'd also have to reevaluate and move all the teams around, and I don't know if that would add confusion.
No. So you take the SR.
Oh, you take it from mid-season. Oh, okay.
Mid-season, unless there's a drastic change, in the team. So double check it before the new season. But I would say if you take it mid-season, that's pretty much where most teams are going to be.
Okay.
And how do you judge this for teams that typically don't enjoy comping just because of Blizzard? competitive system.
I have no idea what you're talking about, Matrix. What are you talking about? Me sitting at 22k.
Because I mean, obviously, we have people on teams who just either aren't ranked or
Yep, for sure.
So how do you plan on dealing with that with regards to?
So this was my idea. Is let's say we have a team like, for example, Hyperion that's 3.9. Like, so you're just outside the D2 division line, right? We'll say you would have an opportunity to challenge the lowest team in that division, and then be able to be moved up to that division.
Would you take the last team's place, or would you?
No. You would just be added. You would be added to that division. So that other team wouldn't drop down. So you wouldn't drop down at divisions, but you could take over and come in that division to say that you're good enough to compete in it. If you can beat the lowest tier team that's there, then that shows that you at least have the capability to compete in that division, even though it's the lowest, but now you can start trying to compete with the higher end teams. Does that sound fair? Does that make sense? Or do we have a better idea?
Yeah, I like that.
Okay. All right. I'm putting all these notes down, so.
This is like super like way out there, and obviously depends on like how this first like.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's gonna be totally messed up the first time, but it's okay. It's basically beta or alpha. So, but all right. So basically, I guess let's start the assessment, right? So, let's say we just take the teams based on their previous season's high, right? So we start it with that, and then what we do is we then group them up by divisions, right? And then what if rather than doing like a round robin, we just let teams start going at each other, right? So
I like that.
So what would it? So that way we don't have to like schedule an event and like schedule everything. Like, and I apologize, I'm going to take the top tier teams. I know I'm being biased here, but they're right in front of me. They're at the top of the list. So let's just say all of a sudden the season starts and TBD goes to Alpha and says, "Let's brawl." And they say, "Okay, cool." They stream it because that would be super awesome and be casted. They go at each other, and then Alpha wins, let's say, right? I know it's imaginary, but so let's say Alpha wins.
Wow,
I'm busting balls. So let's say Alpha wins against TBD, and they get more points than TBD does. Then all of a sudden they become number 1 on the leader, and TBD becomes number 2 because they've actually played a match, right? So now instantly they're number 1 and 2. Now Outcast looks at that and says, "Fuck that shit! I can beat Alpha." And then they go in and play Alpha, and then they beat Alpha, and then they get points, and all of a sudden they become top. And then that way it just incentivizes them right out of the gate to start going at each other to see who's going to take that top lead. Go ahead.
Do you get more points for beating a team that's above you on the leaderboard? Or
That's good. We'll definitely get to that because that's something we have to figure out. Yeah.
Can I say that like I think that people should only be able to play people within 2 ranks of each other. So like the 5th person in the league can't just be like, "Oh, I want to play the number 1 team." Like, you shouldn't be able to skip.
No, you have to work your way up. Yes.
Okay.
So all right. So basically what we'll do is we'll let them go at each other, and then once the top 3 teams are established. So this is going to get teams to want to compete with each other right away so they can try to get the top spot. So once the top teams are established, teams need to work their way up to take the spot. So you need to beat number 3 in order to then get number 2.
Can I throw out a wild suggestion?
Go for it.
So let's say we just do away with ranks entirely with regards to SR. Have some sort of introduction, like not really a league, not really like a tournament, but like quote-unquote random scrims between people, and we use that to determine what kind of positioning we think that teams should have in the ladder. And then we can decide from there, well, maybe let's say like TBD got the most wins, so they would be put in first place. We do this over like a couple weeks. And then we have a ladder. And then people basically battle to stay at the top of the ladder, and they can scrim the teams within 2 spots below and above them.
I honestly like...
I was going to say something.
Yeah, go ahead.
That way, one, you'll be able to do away with ranks, but 2 is ranks regards to like SR. But 2 is that say that the 3rd place team wants to move up a slot. Well, that means that they have to beat the 2nd place team, like maybe like in 1 or 2 matches or something like that. We can adjust ranks like weekly, and then you kind of like move people around in the ladder, and then whoever is at the top of the ladder at the end is the winner of the ladder. But that's
So-
kind of like how ladders are done with regards to like ESL. Is like you all start out with 0. Like there's no ranks. It
Yep.
just depends on what matches you win or not.
I
So-
don't think it should be based on.
I don't like that because like it's not realistic for like a 3.2k team to beat a 4k team. Like so they would never be at the top of the leaderboard. So you would always have just like the 4k teams at the top.
Yeah.
I mean, typically the 4K teams would be at the top of the leaderboard anyways, wouldn't they? Though.
No,
Well-
but if they have their own divisions, then they'll be like a top of their division, and then that way, like some of the lower tier teams that aren't as like serious
yeah.
and they're just not
I
as
see, okay.
skill
Yeah,
based,
correct.
have a chance to be like
Okay.
the best
Yeah.
in their division.
Correct.
That way you don't have just one winner. You have 5 winners.
Correct, in each
Yeah,
division.
I was misunderstanding.
Yeah.
And that just feels really shitty as like a 3.2k team that just like my team's never gonna beat TBD because we're brand new and we're like a 3k team. Like
Yeah.
that's just not gonna happen. So we just be like at the bottom of the leaderboards every time, and it's just not.
And
fun.
it's not fun. Yeah, and the idea too, Matrix, because I agree with you. Like that whole idea of like, but what if we have a team that doesn't play in competitive, but maybe
I
it's
have
much
a
better, right?
suggestion to figure that out.
Oh, go ahead.
For divisions, so like we can have the like. I was thinking if you do like a preseason thing, kind of like how the Overwatch League did, to just like see where teams are at, and you can do standings based off the preseason in their division.
What you should do is initially do it by SR, and then
Yes.
like let's say
That's kind of what I was saying. So like, if you don't want to
Well-
do it
well,
by
that's-
SR, you
that's
have
the
a
way-
preseason based off SR,
That's
and then you have.
well. That's the way that. So that's the way. So step back and look at it this way. So let's say we set up all the divisions. We do it by SR to start with, right? Because we need to start with some sort of base, right? And I think Hyperion's a perfect example, right? So let's take your team matrix, as you were asking the question, plus there. So let's say we go ahead and we have those top teams play each other, and let's say you're in Division 3, which is like the Masters teams, right? And you're number 1 in that league, right, or in that division. And you go, you know what? But I bet you I can beat, let's say, Alpha's number 4 on the list for the teams in there, and say, I think we can take them and be placed in that division. You will have that opportunity because you're number 1 seed in the lower division to be able to play the last seed team in there. And if you beat them, then you earn a spot in that space. So you can earn your spot regardless of the fact that you're a star. Hell, dude, the way that it's supposed to work is so that you're not supposed to have like a platinum team trying to compete with the top team, right? But if the top platinum team then goes and plays the lowest diamond team and they win them, they earn a spot in that division during that season. And then if they work their way all the way through, let's just say hypothetically, this platinum team is fucking amazing, and they make it all the way to the number 1 spot in the middle of the season in the diamond division, let's say, hacks. They then could hypothetically play the lowest team in the Masters division and get a spot in there all in the same season. So you don't even have to wait. If you just start kicking ass and taking names, then you can just go right up to the top, basically.
So
Go ahead.
I have something that I would like. I would like the ranking system to like not have a number 1 of each division, but I would like the divisions still to be there. So like Division 1 would be like 1 through 5 or something like that.
Sure.
Rather than like necessarily SRs, because SRs don't always mean like you're better, because like like Ego gets beat by Livid, so like they're better than us, but like they have a lower SR. So I think if you did like go through like 5, 5, 5, 5, or 6, 6, 6, 6, and like just like list out each team, but keep the numbering the same. So it would be like 1 through 6 would be the top division, second division would be like 6 through 12 and stuff like that. So it gives you like a sense where you're at in core, like more, I guess.
Well, like I said, I think the idea of doing the preseason, right? So let's say January is our first season, but it's our preseason, right? It's to determine where all the teams are. So we just let everyone go at each other for the first 2 months, and these teams are just competing, gaining points, and then at the end of that, we know where all the teams sit as far as ranking, and then the official first season starts, and we already know where those teams land based on their performance and who they're beating and winning. That would be another way to do it as well. But again, I think having the system structured the way it is, starting by SR, I don't think is a bad thing. And this is coming from someone who doesn't play comp because I can't stand it because it's not the way it's supposed to be. And it looks like Blizzard's maybe starting to make those changes that need to happen. But at the same time, I don't think SR is a bad way to at least give us a start, right? And we also are designing a system where people like Livid can be the number one seed in let's say in the division. Let's say they're the best team in the, I'm just saying Diamond division, right, to make it simple. They could then play, let's say, Sakura, who's maybe the lowest in there, and if they beat them, then they would have a spot and they could stay in that division.
It allows you to climb up and down, and teams will eventually sort where they're supposed to be.
Correct. They'll sort out at the end. Yeah, exactly. You'll
That
sort
was
yourself
my
out.
idea behind the preseason was to
Yeah.
figure who belongs where.
Yeah.
Make sure like 3K teams can't actually play against the 4K teams because
No, they're not. They're not.
Okay.
They're separate. You have to look at it. They're first separated by SR, right? So that's what we're taking right off the bat. I know that's not 100%, but we're going to start there. You start with there, and then the teams fight each other within the divisions. Once people determine who's the number 1 or 2 and 3 place seed in each of those divisions, those number 1 seeds can now start vying for things above it. So, like I'm saying, mid-season, Livid could be like, hey, I'm the number 1 seed in the Diamond division. I'm going to go to the Masters division and say, hey, I'm going to challenge you, Sakura. Let's say they're at the bottom of the list. They play Sakura, they fight, and Livid wins. Holy shit, upset. Livid is now, now beat Sakura. They're now in there, and they're now in that division. So now they are afforded the opportunity to fight against the next team that's just above them. They can't go all the way to the top, right? They can only fight the team that's seated just above where they are. Yep.
I have a thing for that though.
Sure.
Like, say a team does that, like a Diamond team makes it up to Master, and then they play like they beat that like lowest tier Master team, but then they just like bomb the rest of the season. Like they just don't perform. Like they just like lose every game. Like would they be demoted back down, or would they just?
I think that's a good question. I think yes, but what are your guys' thoughts on that? As far as like if that team is just losing, like if they can't keep up, then they go back down. What do you guys think?
If you lose 3 straight games to like the team just above you and you're at the bottom of the division, like I don't think you should be in that division. Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe you get like
I think it should be. Yeah, I think it should be looked at not necessarily as like a set thing.
Sure.
But like go to that team and be like, you really think you should be in that division? Like maybe you should drop down at least till you get like. I think it should be team by team basis. It shouldn't be like you lost 3 in a row, you're out, you dropped out.
I think we need a good, consistent demotion system, or else our divisions will just get inflated. Because then people, like, if there's no way to drop a division, then teams will just slowly fill up until they're all, like, top 2 divisions, and then we won't even have people to declare winners for Division 5.
Yeah, because everyone left.
we need a way to fill all the divisions and keep...
Yeah, well, I think it should be season-based. I don't think it should be like, oh, you lost 3 games in this season, like, you're going to a different division. I don't think that makes much sense. Because like you can grow in a season, like just because you're losing games doesn't mean you're not learning anything from those games, and you're not going to be able to like.
And that team is keep in mind that team is taking a risk, right? So if we're using Livid as an example, they're the number 1 seed in that division. They could hold that title, right?
I think
they're risking
at the
it
end of each season. Have the top team play the bottom team from the tier above them. If they beat them, they move up. The team that lost moves down for that season.
Yeah, I like that. That's how a lot of my league tournaments were run when I played in them.
Okay.
Where like you would play the division above you. If you won, you would advance. If you lost, you would stay in the division you were at.
But what happens if you have like Sakura who like Livid maybe beats, but then drops down into the group below and then just trounces all the other teams?
Then they have a chance to promote themselves the next
the next time. Okay.
So like if they are smashing, they obviously are better than that league, and but they need to progress as a team in order to beat the teams in the division they're supposed to be in.
Gotcha. Okay. No, cool. Okay. All right. So we're saying basically demotions we're thinking is more seasonal rather than like mid-season that it goes on.
I just don't think mid-season makes much sense.
Yeah, okay.
That's really like demoralizing as a team that you're getting kicked out of a league mid-season.
Yeah.
Just because you had like everyone has bad games, and if you're just unlucky enough to have like 3 bad weeks in a row as a team, like obviously you need to figure something out to like get better, but like I don't think demoting them right there on the spot is very...
Yeah, that can be demoralizing. Yeah, and I want this to be fun. Like I want to have those underdog stories, right? Like I want to have a match on Monday night streamed where Team 1 division is going for the bottom of the other division, and we're going to see what happens. And are they going to get crushed, or are they going to earn a spot? I think that's really fun. So,
I think it also gives the bottom place, like if you do the top team from the from the division below them playing the lowest team from the division above them, and that decides who goes up, who goes down. I think that gives that bottom place team an actual game to play for, like at the end of the season.
Yeah, because like at the end of the season, if you're not like if you're just at the bottom, there's like it's kind of like, oh, I don't really like feel like playing. I'm just
you're not going to win, so you kind of lose it. Like it gives you something at the kind of like a bowl game in college football. Like it gives you something at the end of the season, even if it was not a great season for you.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay.
So
cool.
I have a question.
Sure.
What if the top team in your division just decides not to play the second place team? Like, what if you're just like, nah, I'm not gonna play. I'm just gonna turtle.
Well, that's a good question. So the way that I think we should have that is that teams are required to play teams that are being challenged at least 2 seeds, right? So like the bottom seed can't try to beat the top seed, but let's say team third place can play second and first, right? Or do you guys want to make it where no, you have to take second and then you go that way? So one is always required to play 2, or
I don't think one should only be required to play 2. I think that's going to get boring in a sense of just playing the same team over and over.
I think it should be division wide. I think it should just be division wide. You have to play every team in the division.
No, don't do division wide because then you can skip rungs of the ladder, and that's
how do you mean?
If you're the number 6 boxer in the world, you're not going to just go fight the number 1 boxer in the world.
So you lose that game, so obviously.
Well, yeah, but that's stupid.
But see, then what happens is you have people at the top going, "No, I don't want to play that team." That's it.
Yeah, exactly. You're gonna have top teams that say they don't want to play the bottom team because they're like, they know I'm 6, I'm not gonna win.
It's your fault for challenging the top team.
Yeah, exactly. We'd be wasting people's time. We don't want to do that. We want to make sure, I think our underdog stories stay between the bottom division and top of the division, but I think 4 teams that are in the top need to play.
You'll just have people playing the same 2 teams over and over and over and over. Like that. That's it. They'll only ever play those 2 teams.
No, that's fine. So I'm saying, so where is the happy medium, right? So let's say you have 8 teams. Let's just say hypothetically there's 8 teams in a division, right? I know there's not going to be that many, but let's just say there's 8. Would we say the top 4 teams are playing each other, like at least to that level? Like the top 4 teams can play each other and challenge.
How many games did you say needed to be played a week?
Right now, I was saying 1 required at least, but we could increase that as well if you guys think that 2 should happen. I mean, that's up to you guys.
I mean, I'm all down for playing more, but like if people's schedules don't work, it's obviously like.
Well, the beautiful part is this can be played at any time. So those 2 teams decide to schedule any time they want. So, and honestly, looking at the schedules between the teams that I got from the league stuff, a lot of stuff carries over. So I think teams would be able to fit in their games based on the scheduling I saw. So.
But I think 1 is fine for like the first season, but I think it should go up at some point. Like once we get like stable.
Okay.
Like I do like 2 games a week. Like I think that makes a lot of sense. But if you do make it 2 games a week, I think it should be a little more broader of who can play who.
Okay.
Because like if you're like a number 4 seed, like they want to prove themselves. They want to be able to like play a higher team and prove that they can they can have a chance at playing them. And it like I don't know. Like I haven't played in League before. I don't know how it like looks in like the higher tier divisions compared to the lower tier divisions. But from like the 1 scrim I did, like we were a pretty new team, but it was still like a really close game, and it was still like fun to play, and I'm sure it would have been fun to watch.
Yeah,
we could like tie incentives to beating teams with regards to their place.
No, yeah, that's what I was saying about like
relative to you. Like, say that we have like 2 metrics, not just like rank in the ladder with regards to wins and losses, but like points.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe you gain a large amount of points for beating the team above you than you do like the team right below you.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Like 2 teams above you, and you limit it to like maybe charging, like maybe you're only allowed to scrim up to like the next rank above you, right? Because you don't want to like once again you don't want to waste the ranks of high teams like flat team wants to face up against GM team. So, that way you can accrue points, and then you're not scrimming teams that are like really much lower than you because that won't get you anything. But at the same time, that encourages teams to scrim like those closer to them or higher levels. But if they're scrimming those closer to them, encourage them to scrim the one that's like above them rather than below them. You're always like trying to scrim someone who's either equal to you or harder to advance your position.
Okay. So like for example, let's say we have the 3rd seed in one of the divisions, would they be able to challenge the number 1 team? Or would they have to earn 2nd before they could challenge them? Because that's the kind of what we're deciding here, right? Like how many teams deep does it go?
Right. So
I mean, is 4 fair? Like seeds 1 through 4, so at least there's enough teams to be able to compete with each other to try to earn points and take spaces, or?
Well, how
First off, are you expecting the same? So this is supposed to be for core teams only, right?
That's correct. It's only for core teams only. Yes.
Okay. Was Core League, like the survey that you did, was that only for core teams?
No, it wasn't. It was for outside teams as well.
So what kind of level of involvement are you expecting? Like how many teams per division are you expecting?
Well,
I think that the answer to that would depend on that.
That's a good question. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, based on the teams that I had sign up, we had 23 out of the 26 teams in here entirely that were interested in participating in league. So that was a pretty good sign. So I only have 3 teams not sign up. Who they are, I'd have to pull up the sheet and see exactly. I'd have to go through all the teams, but that's still responsible.
Like the rank distribution off the top of your head, or?
No. Give me 1 second, but I can pull up that doc. Give me 1 second here.
Okay, because I mean, if there's only like
Yeah, like the team at the top's gonna like, if they don't get as many points for beating teams under them, like they're like eventually just gonna get to a point where they can't.
Oh, for sure.
Right.
So
what
I had.
we could do is we could like tie those points to like incentives, like. So the points would have to be an incentive in themselves. So maybe like if you get a certain number of points, and that gets you a T-shirt for your team or something like that, like T-shirts are a member in your team, or some sort of incentive for you within core, maybe like a logo or something like that. And those are like separate from your rank position. Therefore, like the more that you scrim, the more points you accrue. So like even when you're doing it outside of Brawl, you can accrue like points for that.
Okay.
If that makes sense. So like that would incentivize teams to scrim more, right?
Yeah.
And they would gain more points for scrimming teams harder and beating them.
I like that idea, but I think it should be limited to not T-shirts, just because like that's like if you have like 20 teams that like get enough points, it's like that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And if teams aren't like,
no, that was just an example.
I think icons would be a cool incentive, or like an emote for your team in the server or something.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
There were Discord based.
To give you an idea of the number of teams that signed up, and again, this is outside teams and inside teams. And again, I made this core exclusive. If you guys want to make it outside of core teams and include guests, that's up to you guys. But I think
that would be hard for the.
Well, but you need to do that for the top level teams, like the GM teams. You're not going to have enough. You're going to have 3 teams if you don't open it up to more teams outside of core. You're going to have TBD, Alpha, and then like Outcast, and maybe a Hyperion. And that's not enough teams for the top league.
Yep. So yeah, I mean that's up to you guys. Yeah, I mean it's really on the higher end because like Platinum and Diamond, we have more than enough teams, especially if you include guest teams. So. But I mean, that's up to you guys. If you want to have more teams within the league, then I'd be more than happy to open it up to guest teams. I was trying to make it something more exclusive to our core teams, but if you feel it's more beneficial for the competitive nature of it, and you feel like there's a benefit to it, then we could definitely do it where it's guest teams as well.
The only issue is it's going to be hard to regulate guest teams.
Yeah, that's my concern is like have them confined to like the core values and not be like you're gonna run into toxic teams if you're just like always branching out.
That's okay. We kick them.
Yeah, that's the thing. If you guest teams, they're in core. They have to get here somehow.
Exactly. They have to. While they don't abide by all of our other rules and guidelines in the sense that like I'm involved with teams and the whole building process and all that other stuff, that's strictly for us. If they're here, it means that they're on time, they're respectable, and that. If they end up being toxic or problem, then we kick them out. I
didn't know that.
Yeah.
It's just like going to Reddit and being like, show up. You have to
you have to earn your spot. We're very much about earning your spot here, and keeping it. So if you guys are okay with outside teams, I'm okay. I mean, it gives us another 8 teams
to play.
It gives us another 8 teams. Yeah.
Okay. Well, so I would say I would be okay with outside teams. I don't think there's an issue with that. But I would say go over like the Blizzard thing again and compare it to yours, like very, very carefully. Because when you allow outside teams, it's also going to allow a lot of outside information flow that might be bad for Brawl. Someone says, wow, I think this really follows the format of a league, and then decides to report it for some reason to Blizzard, and Blizzard looks in and they're like, huh, this kind of breaks terms. So that's I think that's something that we're risking with going to outside teams.
We are, but we got to take a risk, right? Like we can't just sit around and like wait for Blizzard to tell me what I can or can't do, right? Like
Yeah,
I just
think it's really stupid that they even did that.
Yeah, exactly. So like, I mean, if they're gonna come after if they're gonna come over my little dinky Discord where we were making no money and we're just helping players get better, that's gonna be a fucking PR nightmare for them because. Guess what? I know a community that would be really fucking pissed about that, and that would probably blow up pretty quick. I'm just gonna say, like, I think there's enough where we could make that a PR nightmare for them to be like, wow, they went in that community that was just like having fun and trying to make their teams compete, and then shut them down. I think that would be bad, very bad. So, but that's just my thought.
Especially because like other games that are bigger than Overwatch are doing it. Like there's like I've participated in like a ton of League of Legends tournaments and like gotten money for those and like it like doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Like they're not gonna have an argument if anything is brought up.
Yeah. So I understand your concern, Matrix, for sure. But like I said, I'm willing to risk it at this point. I had to like step over everything and skirt around things to try to even make this happen. But I'll be honest, I don't understand in the realm of how it's fair for someone to come to me and say, hey, you can't have the group of people that you hang out with. They can't play with each other, right? It's almost as like we had like a bunch of friends in a neighborhood and we played like football on the weekends together, and the NFL came in and said, "Hey, you can't do that. Like you can't hang out and play with each other." Like that's really ridiculous, right? We're not giving away anything. Go ahead.
I think the main reason they did this was so like MLG and like other like viewing parties couldn't make their own leagues and do it, but
no,
they
I
didn't
understand
really think how it affected the
minor, the amateur groups of hanging out and people playing and having fun. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
But anyway, all right. So what other ideas do we have? So so we're okay to the open to the idea of having outside teams. So
I would say just have outside teams for the divisions that don't have a lot of players, like maybe Masters and GM.
Yeah, well, I'm okay with it because a lot of the teams that are here are Masters and GM teams that are Diamond Masters and GM pretty much is what we have as guest teams. So
I think it's fine for all divisions. Like if you're going to do it for the higher end, you might as well just do it.
Yeah, I'll do the whole thing across the board. That way it's not there's no confusion. It's like if you're a guest team and you're here and you meet our requirements for not being asshats and toxic, then you can participate in the league. Or the Brawl. Sorry, not the league, the Brawl. Sorry. So, all right, cool. Okay, so we have a lot of that stuff down. Obviously, this is just we're just throwing spaghetti against the wall right now, and then we'll refine things, and I'll put a document together with Red, and we'll kind of make this look pretty. But what do we think for time frame? Should this be over the course of 2 months? Should this be over the course of 4 months? Like, what are we looking at?
It would be best to align it to. Well,
I
don't know. I would say like if you want to go by like a season mechanic, then I would say align it with Blizzard seasons, but I don't know of anyone who likes the Blizzard season mechanic, so it might just be a thing to keep it like a running thing.
My biggest thing is just like how much off time there will be, because that's like I feel like when a lot of teams just kind of like slack off is when there's just like a huge 3 months of off time.
Oh wait, I wouldn't have a big no. I literally would roll it in back to back, basically. Like so.
Well,
go ahead.
I guess it also matters about prizes too. And what you plan to give out, because depending on if you give bigger prizes, it obviously needs to be like longer periods of time.
Yeah. I was my gut was telling me like 3 months would be good because that would be like 4 times a year, so it'd be like quarterly.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah,
Then you need to go back to think about like how you're gonna do the ranking up divisions, because ranking up like a lot could change in 3 months for a team. Like over Ion in 6 months went from Diamond to GM.
Well, that's where I think the system that we have built in will work that out, right? Okay. So like once it kind of gets established, like the only outliers are really going to be like when new teams come in, right? And then they kind of have to work their way up through the ladder and stuff. But the way that the system's currently built, I mean, again, if anyone watches UFC or boxing, it's a very fluid system, right? Like there's no like, it doesn't take a long time to get in. Like if you can kick people's asses, you move up, right? Like just it happens. And if it's an ongoing thing, right? We're not taking breaks. Like there's a 3-month block that ends a period of time, and then we start a new quote unquote season. Those teams work their way out. I mean, and then we don't have to worry about SR, right? Like I literally think this starts with SR, and new teams that join go in based on SR, but all the rest of the teams, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I think it'll work its way out. So
yeah, I think by the second season, once we're like refined and have like people in like set places after the first season, it'll be a lot smoother into promoting and demoting teams.
Correct, because SR literally, other than when let's say a new team comes in that's a guest team, or a new team gets built in core, we literally could just be like, what's your team's average SR for this? Okay, cool, I'll put you here. If you say, hey, I don't play comp, then it'll say, fine, you start, in Division 5.
They'll just start at the
and then you'll work your way up, kind of thing.
And that way, we also have a place for the teams that don't play comp, which I think is smart.
Correct, exactly. Which is what I want to do. Like I want to, because I agree with you guys. I am not I'm a shit on and thanks to Shaw's coaching, I'm already amazing. So, dude, I'm not even exaggerating. Literally, my average scope accuracy went up 30%. 30%. So that was huge. So, because Shaw said I sucked, so that helped.
He stopped using his trackpad.
So, no, I still use my trackpad now.
Playing over completed all of Portal 1 and Portal 2 with the trackpads.
So yeah, that's a shout out to Shaw. I mean, and I'm not even joking. Like, literally, I went from averaging like 55% to like going into like 80s. So, and I've never ever hit that high before. So, yeah. So thank you, Shaw. So,
you're welcome.
So, and that was like in the same night. I literally left and I went and played games, and then I was like, holy shit, I got better like instantly. So, I'm still not great, but it was an improvement. So anyway, back to stuff here. So we're going to do quarterly. We're going to do based on SR to get started, right? Just to get started. New teams will be placed based on SR if they are new. Give it a week or two break. Yeah, maybe give it a week break. I don't know if we need to give a break. I mean, it's a very fluid system. I think we can probably do back to back and be okay.
I would say don't require people to play every week. Like, if they want to take a week break from Brawl, like I would say that's like their prerogative.
Okay.
But I would say like make them play like over a month of time. You have to play like
I
three
like
okay.
that.
brawls.
Okay.
Like, that incorporates holidays too.
Gotcha.
Like, so like.
Yeah. Or if
So
someone
if you-
has to leave on your team for a thing, then
Gotcha.
and then it was on your fuck for a week. But this gives you can make up time. Just,
But
yeah,
okay,
have it.
so gotcha. So that way, yeah, you don't get screwed. You're like, dude, we can't schedule it this week. We say, hey, but I can do 2 matches next week because we have more time.
Yeah, so
okay.
give them like a set number of matches, but they can play it over the
The course of the month.
The
Yeah.
month or the season.
I would say the month because otherwise people may get lazy and just like, oh, I'm here,
put it
but
off
then
to the last
put it off to the last day, and I don't want to do that. Yeah, so I think
that-
over the month is fair. So we'll say 4 games in the course of a month.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Okay.
What are you gonna do about subs in like there's obviously ringers and there are ringers who ring more than others like Arrow and Reop, who are both GM.
Yeah, I think
they play for all teams.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to be able to run ringers for brawls. If you want to run ringers for scrims, but I think no ringers for brawls.
I think they have to be officially on the roster.
Yeah, have to be official sub or on roster. So
Can you tell teams that they have to give a set roster to the other team like an hour
Yes.
beforehand?
I think it should be like
it'll be posted. Yeah.
Well, like the roster that they're running that day.
Can we have like certain requirements as to maybe like a team has to have like 1 or 2 confirmed substitutes in order to participate, so that we like ensure that a Slipshot team with like 6 people, maybe like 5 people and one sometimes comes.
Okay.
But they actually have to have approved substitutes, and that might be helpful to
Yep.
ensure that all matches get done smoothly.
I like that idea.
I
Yep.
find
Just
when doing a
list your
league
subs.
Yeah, so like one of the hardest things about doing like a league, or I guess in this case a brawl, is like making sure
People
that
not
people adhere
showing
to the
up.
schedule and don't show up,
Yes.
and like then you have to figure out how logistically how do I fix this, and
Yep.
I think that would be a good way to reduce the. I mean, that's not going to eliminate problems, but
No, but it helps reduce it. Yeah, no, I like that. So I put that down. Yeah, teams have to have 1 to 2 subs to participate. Okay, that works. What other things do we want to see, or how it should function? Anything else?
I don't think I have anything else.
Okay. Do you guys like this idea though? This the whole brawl concept. Do you think it'll be fun for the teams to compete against each other in this type of format?
I think
Honestly,
it'd be good.
I think it's better than League. It sounds a lot more fun than League.
Yeah.
Is there any like playoffs at all, or is it just going to be like?
No, it's going to be like boxing and stuff. We may do like the all-star team. I think that was mentioned. I think that's an idea that would be fun.
Yeah.
How is casting going to work exactly?
Yeah, sure. So the way that it works, and I've already worked this out with Axel and the casting team, so we're good with that. So we chose Monday and Tuesday nights because it's not when Overwatch League is, so we can get in less trouble. We have blocked out a time frame on Monday and Tuesday nights, which is between 9 p.m. and 12 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So the way that it would work is, and we have 4 casters that we have designated for those 2 nights that are available to be scheduled. So the way that it would work is, let's say Team A wants to fight Team B, and they want to be streamed on Monday night at 10 p.m., then they would reach out to Red, who's in charge of Brawl, and say, hey, next Monday at 10 p.m., we would like to be streamed and to have our Brawl happen. He'll reach out to the casting team and to our video people, and they'll make sure that time slot is available. It's first come, first serve. And they'll get back to the team and say, yep, you guys are both set for this time. You are scheduled. And once that's all scheduled and set, Red will post an announcement and hype the hell out of it to get people to watch that Brawl on Monday night. So...
I have a pretty good rig, and I am pretty free, so I could probably stream the games if you're still needing.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yes, DM me if you would. If you have a good rig and you want to stream, just DM me and let me know so I can.
I'll DM you my computer logistics.
Okay, cool. Yeah, give me your dimensions. No, send me your DM just with that info, so that way I know if anyone else is interested or feels like they can do it. We only need like one video person to do it, and the casters are all set. So yeah, we're good there. Luckily, we didn't lose any of that part of all what we were trying to do. I do need someone though to figure out how the hell Frag and Fenris were doing like all of, like the audio stuff and all that like overlay and all those sorts of things. They're going to give me all the assets. They're going to give me all the assets, so that's not a problem. Like we're not losing anything. I just need someone who can manage it. Okay, you do? Okay, cool.
But that's fucking like it's cool, but it's like crazy at the same time.
All right. Well, we'll figure it out together. I'll have you work with Red and anyone that's familiar with that stuff since he's in charge of Brawl. He's got a lot of work to do, so.
Let me finish my final first.
No, you're fine. Finish your final. No, we're not doing it tomorrow. So we're next week. So,
no, but I'm super hyped. I'm really looking forward to this.
Yeah,
I think we have a nice. I got my notes also.
Cool.
I think we got a nice outline going here. I can't wait to format this.
So
get it going.
Yeah, no, me too. All right, so we'll do an all-star event. I think that will be kind of like the fun championship game. Just take like the top voted players, and I don't think it matters SR wise. I think just like, hey, I really liked watching this player, or they were funny, or whatever. We'll have people vote on the top players they want to see on 2 all-star teams, and then we'll just do an event, Monday or Tuesday night for funsies, and just have the teams go at each other and just laugh at them. So. I think that'll be...
So, for that, would you make it all, like, the higher tier teams, or just, like, any...
No. Like, what I'll do is I'll make it just... So, for the All-Stars, like, I literally, like... remember when they did the first, the Overwatch World Tournament thing, and they just, like, had people vote on, like, who was going to be on the teams? Maybe we'll do something with that.
Would you make it, like, required, like, 2 people from each division?
Yeah, maybe like that or something. Yeah, maybe. I mean, or just have people vote for people. I mean, I'd rather have the community pick... players that they like or something. I don't care if they pick like 2 platinum in that. Go ahead.
No, I just think it would be cooler to have like lower tier people.
Yeah, no, I agree too. Yeah, I think that would be good. So, to put them in there. So, all right. Any other ideas for Brawl at all?
I was gonna say I think it'd be cool to do like if we could like do like some initial casted matches. So like I feel like right now there might be like a little bit of uncertainty in the Discord with the removal of owners, and I think like one way to reassure people of the current state might be to like throw together some casted matches as
right
like
away.
A pre-season Brawl thing.
Okay.
In the next start it like in the next week or two so that people can see that we're all good. This is still happening. That kind of stuff.
Okay.
I don't know. It might be maybe like a cool reassurance thing.
No, I like that idea.
And then that would give a chance for casters to
test stuff out and things.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't participate in that.
Start and put things together before like.
Okay. Sure. We can put something together. So yeah, no.
I think that might be cool.
Yeah, we'll see what we can throw together. We'll see if that's something we can do. I know we have holidays coming up, so but that's the one caveat there. But we'll see if we can do that. So
Christmas.
Yeah, exactly. So it'll be busy, and I'm going to be working full time for about 3 weeks, which starts basically just Christmas week basically until the first 2 weeks in January. So I'll be busy with that. But I will be very free in February. So that is good news. I will be here to the point that it's unhealthy. So.
Yo, Christmas is my birthday, so fucking just do a league on that day.
Oh, it is? Oh, man.
Yeah.
Man. All right, hold on a second. I'm getting texted by my girlfriend.
You get, like,
This
single
one
presents.
present, yeah, this one present is for the whole year. You're welcome.
Awesome.
Is it Melee?
Yes, it's Melee.
You my GameCube.
I actually have 2.
I have 4. Get at me.
Oh shit.
All right, any
How many
other?
copies of Melee do you have though?
3. My friend stole 1.
So any other ideas or anything for Brawl, or we're good with that to start with, and then we'll all put some stuff together. I'll work with Red and some other people. We'll try to make it look pretty, and then I'll reconvene. I'll do another open Brawl meeting and see everyone's opinions and thoughts. So sound good?
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Sounds good to me.
Awesome, ladies and gents, much appreciated. I have a captain's meeting, which I'm very, very much looking forward to. They're actually a daughter team of Ferox that is looking to be official core team and be a sister team instead of a daughter team. So I'm very excited about that. So Ewan was making a team, was finding players, find a bunch of other people he liked, and decided to make a sister team and try to instill the core culture in them. So, which is pretty awesome. So we have teams making babies now. So, but so, all right, guys. Well, thank you for your patience. Thank you for putting up with all of the crazy ass changes that are happening. But I honestly think we are headed in a good path. I think just the absolute riot and uprising that came out fast, or and then just basically disappeared, and the owners leave, the other owners leaving, and everything else. I just feel like this is just kind of one of those big just reset button, and we'll keep, and Blizzard with all their stuff. So just massive amount of lemons being thrown at us. But I feel very, very confident, especially with you guys being here and willing to offer your time, that we will be able to make something awesome out of this and hopefully have a really cool brawl that everyone can participate in and have a good time and bring our community back together. So, all right, everybody.
Yeah.
Later. Enjoy your night. Thank you.
Yep, you too.
Bye, guys.
Like.